Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today it's been quite an interesting day. I've been out doing a small favour for a friend of mine. I've been a supervised driver for someone who's taking his driving test in the next couple of weeks, so that was quite cool, being a supervisor. And my other friend was going to buy an Xbox and a TV for his room, so we were all in computer exchange, and I thought, why not? I'll buy a couple of things, and I'll do a video just because I can, basically. So I've got seven titles here, guys. So the first one I've got is Ben Stiller, Jack Black and Robert Downey Jr. and Tropic Thunder, which is a movie that I seriously love when it came out. It took me a while to get around to watch it, but when I did, I thought it was absolutely awesome. And and the cameo with Tom Cruise is legendary. It really is. The next one I have, another Ben Stiller movie from, I believe, 2006. Yes, because I remember watching this when I flew over with my family to Florida we flew over to Florida for 2 weeks on holiday in 2006, and this was one of the movies that I watched on the way. It was either on the way back to the UK or on the way to Florida, and that is the original Night at the Museum, and again another film which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I thought it was such a great concept for a story. Yet again, a very original idea as well, very simple and effective, and it worked on every single level for me, especially with the cast, with the likes of Owen Wilson, Steve Coogan, the great Robin Williams, rest in peace, my friend, and Ben Stiller, and Ricky Gervais, who I'm not that overly keen on Ricky Gervais. Even as a stand-up comedian, I don't really like him, and he's one of our own British. Like I say, I'm not keen on him, but yeah, I really enjoyed Night at the Museum. I thought it was really cool. And the next one I've got is Sylvester Stallone's The Expendables. This is the extended cut. This is the first one out of I think there's 3, isn't there? I'm pretty sure it's 3. It might even be 4. I'm not 100% sure. I only really like the first one here, with the ensemble cast of Jet Li, Randy Couture, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, and Bruce Willis and Mickey Rourke there. So yeah, another film I enjoyed. Yeah, that was the Expendables. The next one I got was pretty much the surprise movie. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the biggest surprise of 2009, and that was Neil Blomkamp's District 9. Again, another movie that I really enjoyed here, guys. I thought the idea of this was pretty sound, and I actually thought the visual effects on this were absolutely astonishing considering apparently the cost of them all. I thought they were amazing. Yeah, I thought Charlton Copley in it for his first movie, I thought was great. He was absolutely fantastic. He really was. I don't really remember much else about the cast for this, but yeah, Charlton Copley I thought was absolutely amazing in it. He really was. The next movie I've got is Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart in Central Intelligence. Now, this is a movie that I actually wanted to go and see at the cinemas and never got round to. I thought the trailers for it looked absolutely brilliant, and I finally got round to watching it at my cousin's last year, and once I'd finished watching it, I thought, this is it. So I've got to own this. But it's taken me a while to pick it up. But yeah, it was really cool. Got it for quite a good price as well. I think it was only like £2 or something like that from Computer Exchange. So yeah, that's Central Intelligence there. And the next one I've got was probably my favourite film of the year. This came out, which was 2012. This is a film that I actually went to see at the cinemas and thought this was just absolutely amazing. It got some mixed reviews, not just from the critics but also from the public as well. And that is Chronicle. Now, like you say, I actually really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a really interesting story about these young teenagers that come across like an entity that they've discovered down in like a hole, and they kind of get these sort of superpowers from this entity, this unidentified entity, and they don't quite know what to do with these powers, and two of them go on to do like all sorts of things, and one of them, who's played by Dane DeHaan, who everyone knows as Harry Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man series. Yeah, he went on to bigger and better things, and to be honest with you, I think his performance in Chronicle I thought was really cool. But like I say, the story on this is really quite interesting. But I recommend this to anyone who likes a reality-based superhero movie. It's not made like a superhero movie, but I really do recommend it for those who have had an interest in this and haven't seen it. So yeah, that's Chronicle, guys. And the next one I've got is another BBC Earth show, which this one is not a David Attenborough narrated one, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it nonetheless. It's from 2009, and this one is Yellowstone. Again, this is another series that I only caught parts of because of my work and that. But from what I saw of this, I really enjoyed it. And again, it's a nature show, and I can't pass up on it really. So that's my haul for today, guys. Now I think because I've got quite a bit of time left, I think I'll probably make this a 15-minute one. I'll go through a couple of films that I've seen that I've watched over the last few days, and the first one I'm going to talk about is Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. This I hadn't seen it up until 2 days ago, and honestly I have to say this is probably the best 3-hour film I have watched in ages. It really is. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's absolutely great. Such a great cast with this attached to it, with Margot Robbie, as everybody knows, who absolutely stole the show as Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. We have Jonah Hill as well, Kyle Chandler, Jon Favreau, Jon Bernthal, as everybody knows, as Marvel's Punisher. Our own Joanna Lumley, who was wonderful in it for as short a time that she had in it, and Matthew McConaughey as well in the opening 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah, The Wolf of Wall Street is the true story of Jordan. You have to excuse me on this, guys. I've really struggled with trying to get his name out because of my stutter. I've tried in previous videos that I've recorded and it just doesn't work. It's based on the memoir of Jordan Belfort, who owned the the stockbroker company Stratton Oakmont in the 90s, and he eventually went to prison for defrauding millions from companies in like shares and all that kind of thing, and he actually went on to become an author and motivational speaker. I think that's what they call them. But yeah, and it does actually have a part at the end. It does actually have a part at the end of the film. But yeah, really, The Wolf of Wall Street, I really enjoyed it. It was absolutely, it was a cracking film. Really, very, very entertaining. And some of the sequences in it are. There's a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll in this. I wouldn't say the rock and roll, but the whole idea, the whole concept of it was just really cool. The way that all these parties were depicted is so reminiscent of like the heyday of the 80s, where they were so extravagant with the amount of money that went into them, and all that. But yeah, it's such a good film, and very different, and quite a very different in terms of the style of it, with it being a kind of more of a comedy than anything, it's very different for Martin Scorsese, this, as some of the other films that he's done, such as Shutter Island, Raging Bull, and other stuff like The Aviator and Gangs of New York, that are all very serious films. But this one is more of a comedy. It's more of a comedy drama rather than a serious drama thriller type thing. It's a very different direction that Martin has actually taken in this, and it really has paid off. I think maybe in my mind solely because he's worked with Leo on a number of occasions, with likes of like the Shutter Island that I've mentioned, The Departed and The Aviator, and again the Gangs of New York. It would have been reasonably easy for him to sort of like to grab that kind of genre and bring it in through Leo, as I said, because of the fact that he's worked with him before. But yeah, like I say, it's a really enjoyable film. I had the best 3 hours watching it, and I actually watched it more or less as soon as I woke up the other morning. So I spent 3 hours from 8:15 to 11:15 in the morning watching The Wolf of Wall Street. And like I said, absolutely great film, really is. I couldn't rate this any more than I do. So if anybody hasn't seen this, please give it a watch. Please give it a go, because you will not be disappointed with it. You really won't. So the next one I've got for you guys, I've got 14 minutes recording here. I think I might just throw this one in quickly. This next one in quickly, because it's screaming at me to talk about, and that is Mel Gibson's Hacksaw Ridge with Andrew Garfield. This film absolutely blew me out of the water. It actually blew me out of the trench, to be fair. Great film. If no one's seen Hacksaw Ridge, you have got to check it out. It's the true story about Desmond Doss, who rescued 75 members of his team from Hacksaw Ridge, and just it's so well acted. There were so many faces that I thought, wow, what are you doing in this? you turned out to be so good. We had Vince Vaughn, who I thought it was absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the best performances I've seen him in for a long time. And there was also Sam Worthington in there, who was also really good in this. Hugo Weaving as Desmond Doss's father. Again, such a brilliant, powerful performance from Hugo there. And Andrew Garfield, what can I say about him? I mean, you know, he I don't rate him that an awful lot as an actor after the travesties of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but I've seen him in other films. I don't remember the titles of them, but what a performance he put in here in Hacksaw Ridge. He was absolutely unbelievable, and he absolutely knocked it out of the pan. But Mel Gibson absolutely directed the shit out of this film. He did so well, and I'm really surprised that he didn't win the Best Director award for this at the Oscars. I'm so gutted that he didn't, because he should have done, and he should have done. But the other thing that I will say about this really quickly before I go is that this film is not for the squeamish. Now, as we've seen in some of Mel Gibson's directed films, he's not shy when it comes to blood and guts. In particular, this one, which for good reason. It's a film set in World War II. You are going to see it, but it goes a little bit close to the belt. But in a way, it's needed in this, just to show everybody what it was actually like from the troops' point of view, what they saw during World War II, those scenes, what they saw in World War II, even in World War One. You know, I mean, I know it's not set in World War One, but just to give you the feel of what would have probably gone through their minds, having to walk through all of that. It's just horrible even to think about, let alone actually to see. Again, with The Wolf of Wall Street, I cannot rate this film anymore. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And if nobody's seen this and is prepared is kind of dubious to give this a go, give it a go. Seriously, this is the one film that you really must watch. I'm not much of a person that can sit down and watch a war film. I've got plenty of them. I've got plenty of them over there in the first bookcase that I covered, and I will watch them. I really will. But yeah, Hacksaw Ridge. Please watch it if you haven't. It's really cool, and like I say, a really good representation of what did happen in World War II. Not that I experienced it, I'm too young, but from what I've read, and from what I've seen out of documentaries, it really brings you in especially a troop's perspective on what happened in World War II. And like I said, Andrew Garfield absolutely knocked it out of the park. He really did. He was absolutely phenomenal in it. So that pretty much covers it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, you can hit that like button, subscribe if you like, and make a comment as well if you want. It'd be really appreciated. So I'm going to do my pleasantries, and I'll see you later.